I'm just happy that everything I've been able to do in scrims and everything leading up to this point is just translated. So.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT EMEA 2025 Stage 1. My guest at this time is none other than Crashies, this time a FNATIC. Of course, you guys are very familiar with his interviews last year and over in Americas. Now he's in a new region. And so, Crashies, good to have you here in another setting. Coming off of a victory this time over NAVI. I mean, first and foremost, gotta ask you, how are you feeling?
Obviously feeling great. I performed great. The team felt great, and we won 2-0. So just feeling great.
Great indeed. And one other thing that is great for from yourself is like just sort of your individual performance, just kind of like in a way seeing the first time of your true form in this year. You know, going off of a 25 KD on split, continuing that on to the next map. This time playing the Tejo. I want to ask you just sort of what kind of how good does it feel for you to finally show the your true self? You know, the kind of self that everybody in VCT, especially in North America and some in EMEA, has kind of been familiar with in the past.
Yeah, so obviously it feels really good for me, especially after kickoff. I was just trying to adjust really hard to how how Fnatic managed inside the game. I think I just was trying to find my place and role within the team, so I was really struggling on how to bring out my individual skill that I know I have. I performed at the top level for so long that I know I'm capable of doing it. It's just a matter of like how to do it again. So yeah, I just worked on myself a lot after kickoff. I reflected a lot as well. We've had a lot of time to, practice and get integrated within their system. So I'm just happy that everything I've been able to do in scrims and everything leading up to this point is just translated. So.
I mean, even so, like you had to do so in a pretty tumultuous journey, especially from the end of like kickoff and then through masters and all the way up until this current point. Obviously, like reports came out of like the changes in coaching from El Mapudi to Doom Bros. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to start off stage one in his current condition. Hopefully, he can get better soon. And then over into Milan. I mean, how difficult has it been for you to kind of focus on yourself, focus on trying to bring the best out of yourself in a new environment, while also having to like deal with the constant changing in the coaching and the difficulties it might bring.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult for sure, especially moving regions and coming into a new system. It's like all kind of a shock and having to see how they see the game and play the game, and it was just a lot for me to handle. But I think like even with the coaching staff change, the team has handled it well. I think Milan taking on the head coach role has handled it really well as well. We just all kind of know the job at hand and how to work with each other, and yeah, we're honestly like looking really good, and scrims have been looking really good as well. So.
With you performing in EMEA for now a few months now, I mean, I gotta ask you, like, do you feel like now finally you are like 100% comfortable in just having to be in a new setting and having to like play with the likes of Boaster and then also within the rest of Fnatic? Do you feel like you're 100% comfortable, or do you feel like it's still like a work in progress for you?
I wouldn't say 100%. Even though today I played great individually, I think the hardest part of this game is just being consistent. Valorant is a game that just has so many intangibles and so many things can happen. So just being consistent is my goal. And I'd say like if I had to give a percentage, it's at like 80, 85%. I'm still trying to figure out how to complement Boaster and give him help when he needs it. And like Kayak is duelist, and I'm his initiator. So just like little things like that. But so far so good.
I mean, you mentioned a little bit on to just sort of the reflection on kickoff. I want to kind of go back onto that aspect for you potentially. Like, obviously, like looking over into the Fnatic squad it's a much more different version in the sense that you guys had different role changes. And I remember you didn't play much of the Tejo, and that was at around the time in which the Tejo was like very freaking. I was gonna say the effort. I had to watch myself on that. Very freaking broken and like you didn't really play that as much as I believe you only played one map, or maybe you didn't even play any at all.
I don't
You can
even
kind
think I
of correct
played
me
it.
on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you kind of elaborate on that. How difficult was it for you to just sort of try to start off on the right foot with so many circumstances, so many obstacles in your way, especially in that first phase of the year?
So, I mean, the Tejo thing, it just came at such a crappy time, I would say, especially like in our position. I was trying to get up to speed with their playbook and everything that they've had, and then once we're finally hitting that stride, Tejo comes out, and like we had to try it and see how it would work, and people were trying different roles. Yeah, and then Alpha just ended up playing it on like a map or two or something. I was just on Sova duty, permanent Sova duty, which I didn't mind. Like I'm very comfortable with Sova, but I think like with two great initiators on the team, with me and Chronicle, I think that we share a very like unique role in that we know how to set up our teammates with utility. Alpha played more of like a we joked about it like a duelist Tejo, and I thought he was like really good at it. It's like a hybrid of aggressive and passive, and I think it caught a lot of people off guard. But we just honestly couldn't get a read on the meta like during that time. We didn't know if he was that good. We didn't know if he was that bad. It's just hard when we had so many other things to worry about as well. So that was just definitely a hard time for us internally. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we've had so much time to practice from kickoff now. We've tried a lot of stuff. Obviously, we saw Tejo go to Bangkok and do numbers there. Every team was playing it except maybe T1 on a couple maps. But yeah, G2 grand finalists as well. We're running it almost every map. So yeah, I think there was just a lot of footage for us to review and how to integrate it into our system.
Do you feel like the team has been able to now finally get a read on the meta, now finally get on top of it?
Yeah, I do think so. I think we're in a good place with a lot of maps. I'm very comfortable in our map pool right now. Um, and I think, with new agents and new maps coming out, it'll only, take some time to figure it out. The hardest part is just creating a playbook and then catching players up to speed, and then new agents come out. It's always very tough to manage.
Yeah, of course. I want to pivot over to a different topic regarding yourself. It's more so just sort of tying into the comparison between EME and Americas, because I understand like everybody and their mother's been kind of asking you that kind of question, and so I won't try to like do the same thing for this occasion, but nevertheless, like just having to transition from playing like for a very long-standing core within NV Optic, NRG, and playing the likes of finesse and all that stuff. And then moving over to Boaster, um, I understand that like Boaster and finesse brings different kinds of leadership and IGLing to the table. And like for you, having to go from having a long-standing teammate like finesse and moving over to Boaster, I want to ask you sort of how can you kind of compare the teammate aspect and also the leadership aspect of these two individuals so far for you?
Yeah, so friendship wise, obviously me and FNS have been teammates. Even in Counter-Strike before Valorant came out, we were teammates. We just been through a lot together, and he was just like I just looked up to him a lot and asked him a lot of questions about life and competing, and he was just someone I respected a lot. So he was just a great friend throughout all of our teams. And then leadership wise, he was always a great leader. He just knew what he expected out of us, and all of us playing under him knew what he wanted out of us. So I think it was just a very good balance, I would say. And then with Boaster, obviously I've known him, playing against him, and he's been Valorant since the beginning as well. Never really talked to him that much, but he like welcomed me with open arms. We get along really well. We did a lot of things like in the off season in Japan for Riot Games One, and we do a lot of stuff here as well. So he's just like accepted me fully. He's a great friend to have, and for the leadership aspect, he's also a great leader. He's won multiple championships as well, so he knows what it takes to win, and he knows what he needs out of us as well as players. So I think they're both pretty similar in like the friendship and leadership aspect. Obviously, I'm super blessed to play with two goats of the game, basically. Um, and yeah, I'm just super blessed.
Who's better?
I can't say, but I have won a trophy with FNS. So like, I haven't really won a trophy with Boaster yet, but he's won two without me. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it just he's got to figure out what happens later on down the line if you guys
Yeah.
are able to meet with that squad. A few more questions before I wrap this up because I'm getting those pings to actually wrap up, kind of similar as it was last year. Nevertheless, have you been able to like keep track of VCT Americas? Given that you're over there, but I still feel like you kind of have some attention over there. So have you been able to kind of like look at the other leagues so far, and also like what are your thoughts, general thoughts?
Yeah, I have been keeping up with Americas. Obviously, it is hard because we're on a different time schedule and stuff like that. I don't get to always watch the games, but like roster moves and all that stuff, and Cloud9 beating Energy, that's like a people just like I don't know what's going on these days, but Cloud9 just has the number of energy. Um, I think Americas is still a very strong region. I think G2 looked insane at Bangkok as well. I was expecting them to win it. So yeah, I mean, Americas is strong as a region for sure.
Of course, man. Well, got any thoughts on the current NRG squad? Just like a short answer, if that's fine with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting them actually to do very well with Brno and Bonker, especially they won two off-season events, and they were looking good. Obviously, like I don't know what happened. No one really knows what happened. There's just rumors and stuff, so I'm not going to talk about that. But they're very like I think they work very hard and they know how to win as well. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they can get it together.
Of course, man. And the same thing can be said for you and your team. Crashies, thank you so much for taking the time doing this interview. Really do appreciate it. Congrats on the W as always, and of course, hopefully I can talk to you again sometime in the future. But nevertheless, thank you so much and best of luck in the rest of stage one, man.
Thank you, Pedro.